So welcome party people, not to office hours, but to a debugging T-SQL stream. See, I started work this morning working on an update of the first responder kit. We try to publish updates of the first responder kit. Hello, G-Surgeon, good to see you as well. Try to publish updates of the first responder kit every 2 to 3 months. And there was a really cool bug request or a bug feedback that came in via the community Slack. There was someone who's having a unique problem with having a problem with SP Blitzlock. That part wasn't unique. I mean, we have problems with T-SQL scripts all the time. But the fun part was that I reproduced it immediately, and other people chimed in GitHub and said and in Slack and said they could not reproduce it. I love problems when qualified people, some say they can reproduce it and some say that they can't. So this morning I was like, because I reproduced it immediately. When I went back to go work on it this morning, I could not reproduce it. I love problems like that. So I got all excited and I narrowed down what it was. Well, I only know how to reproduce it. I haven't tried to troubleshoot the T-SQL yet, and that's the part that I think you're going to love. I have no idea. Oh, hello, Renegade Larson as well. I have no idea if this will be a 5-minute problem or a 1-hour problem. So let's go into the code and go take a look. So we have here, this is the original error that came in. The original error was, they're having an error when I'm trying to output to a table. Here are the steps to reproduce. And then the person, I should give a shout out to Bilius for the good bug report over in Slack. And Bilius said, when I run SP Blitzlock with an output parameter, when I try to output the results to a DBA tools database, to a Blitzlock table, I get a set of errors. And other people said, no, I do not get those errors. So let's go hop in and do it, and I'll show you what causes it. So I've got here the exact same call stack that Bilius was using. Go dump the data to a DBA tools database, to a Blitzlock table. And the way that I usually test stuff, I just start a new connection and I just go execute it. When I go to execute it, the query finishes successfully. It works okay. Okay, so it involves writing out to tables. So my first thought was, why don't I try to drop those tables? Because maybe it's a problem if the tables already exist. So let's drop the tables and we'll rerun it again and go take a look. And the query still executes successfully. So it doesn't seem to be a problem with the first time that something runs afterwards. Let's try, or the first time that it creates the tables. Let's try executing it again, and it executes successfully. Okay, so it could be that I have to have deadlocks in order to reproduce it, because right now my Blitzlock tables are empty. There's nothing in here about any past deadlocks. So maybe I have to go create some deadlocks. I'm going to save you the effort of watching me do that, because that was not the problem either. So what the problem was is I am calling it from the master database, which is the same database that SP Blitzlock happens to be installed in. Now that's not usually where I would do it. Where I would usually do it is I might do it from, say, the Stack Overflow database. Maybe I'm troubleshooting locks in the Stack Overflow database. So I'm going to switch over to the Stack Overflow database and I'm going to run it again. And now I get query completed with errors. What's going on with that? Let's scroll down and see if they're the same errors that he reported. Well, kind of. This is similar, but not exactly the same. Here, this error is invalid object name deadlock table. If I go back over to the GitHub repo, he got, oh no, he did. This is exactly the same thing that he reported, invalid object name deadlock table. So then, if I try to run it from the DBA tools database, which is the database where I'm writing the output to, let's try running it from over there, and I get, oh no, it's the same. I was thinking it was a different error that I was getting. Okay, So it appears to be that if I run SP Blitzlock from different databases, sometimes it gets the error, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, cool. So that at least tells me that there's probably something involving a fully prefixed object name somewhere. I've already downloaded the latest version of SP Blitzlock. So we're going to go into programmability, stored procedures, and just script out SP Blitzlock. This isn't usually how I would go start with the troubleshooting of source code. It's just that I don't have GitHub Desktop in this particular VM. Usually I would go pull the code straight out of GitHub Desktop and then I'll work with it from there. But so we'll go in and look. Now, where do I even begin? Now, we do know that it's throwing an error around invalid object name. Oh, I got that there. Let me close this and I'll work from over here. Invalid object name, deadlock table. Line numbers are always really tricky because with dynamic SQL, it can point you to the wrong place. We'll go look at 3673 just to go see what's going on there. So what's happening here is if debug equals 1, then print deadlock result. Well, clearly that isn't throwing the error because we're just doing a dump there. That does give me the point, though I should run it with debug turned on just so that my top of my head's being clipped off. I'll stand a little wider. Actually, I'll take my slippers off. There we go. That works perfect. So let's run it with debug equals 1. So we'll say debug equals 1. Can't believe I didn't start with that. And then that'll give us a little bit more about where the error throws at, or where the error hits at. So it is when we are getting ready to dump the results to table, and it's saying select server name equals da 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 da. Is it going to say insert into? No, it just says select. So let's say results to table. Let's take a look and see if we can find that inside the source code. Oh, it's right there. Oh, it is in the exact same error at least. Oh, here we go. Insert into deadlock table. Oh, insert into deadlock table. That shouldn't. Deadlock table? How is that an actual... I mean, like, we would never name, it doesn't have a pound in front. We would never name an object deadlock table. Okay, so this smells a little funny. This smells like somebody maybe hard-coded something into here during testing, maybe? Let's go see. I'm just gonna do a copy paste and do a search for deadlock table and just, oh, because there's a synonym. Oh, okay, all right. So it should have created a synonym. Create a synonym for output data. Ooh. I wonder if the synonym doesn't work for some reason if we're in different databases. Oh, that's really interesting. If exists, so create synonym. So first it's checking to see, is there a synonym for it? If so, found a synonym, dropping, creating synonym. All right, let's go back through the debug messages and see if it said anything about, oh, maybe it's not hitting this part of the code either. If debug equals 1. Let's do a search in the messages for synonym. Let's go way back up to the top and do a control F for synonym. No, that's not, I don't want to search the entire solution. I just want to search, this is the dumbest. Current document, find next. Creating synonym, create synonym deadlock findings. Oh, interesting. So it goes to create the synonym, but there is already an object named synonym, or there is already an object named deadlock findings. Oh, that's really interesting. I wonder if there are two create synonyms blocks for some reason in SP Blitzlock. Okay, so what could be causing this? One is that there could be two sets of create synonym statements. Now this is two different synonyms, obviously, but two blocks in the code that both try to create synonyms. Another thing that could be broken is our existence check. Maybe our existence check is supposed to check to see if it's there, and if so, drop it. and it's not working correctly. So let's go look for create synonym in the code. So if we're looking for create synonym, I'm going to go all the way back up to the top. Let's see how many places we're trying to do that. Create synonym. Okay, so here's one, and you know I should have line numbers turned on. Let's say line general, line numbers. Okay. So we got one around 630. We have lines around 630. This isn't fully prefixed. Drop synonym deadlock findings. That's not fully prefixed either, so that should be okay. 630, so there's one. This is the second one for deadlock table, which is fine, so that's 630. Okay, so there's only one set. All right, so there's only one set, and I don't know whether or not, I was going to say maybe it's not firing, but it has to be firing because we're getting those messages in there saying that the synonym, what was the error warning that we got? So we're getting a create synonym when the object already exists. Let's try dropping the synonyms. Drop synonym deadlock findings. Let's see if it actually gets dropped. And then drop synonym deadlock table and execute. Oops, execute. Okay, cool. Well, there's only one. All right, so now let's try running it again. Query completed with errors. Okay, that's kind of good. I do want errors. Invalid object name deadlock table. Okay, cool. Where's the synonym error? Create synonym. Oh, there's no synonym error this time. Oh, and it's doing this. Well, before I get too excited. So it's doing the synonym as a fully prefixed object name. It just happens to be in the same database. Okay, cool. Let's try running it again. So let's try running it, or let's see if the synonym got left behind. Drop synonym. It did. The synonym got left behind. That's both of them got left behind. That's really tricky. Let's see what happens. Excuse me. If I run it in another database like Stack Overflow and execute it, now it's going to get execute. Oh, it didn't. I was going to say invalid name of deadlock table. Where does it work then? Does it work in master? Let's make sure it dropped. Okay, so the synonym doesn't exist in master. And if I run it, it works successfully. Now, does the synonym get left behind? No. So when it runs in master, it works okay. But when it runs in other databases, oh, that's really interesting. I wonder what the context of the create synonyms dynamic SQL is. Can you create a fully okay, so first off, can you create a fully oh, I probably don't want to do that. Okay, so part of this, where is this sysobjects code running? Is it running, is it looking in the wrong place for the synonym? And then where is this synonym getting created? We know that when it fails, so if I run it in, if I switch over to, say, Stack Overflow, make sure the synonyms don't exist. Oh, they did. So they did get created. It's just that the thing errored out. So the query gets created. Did the synonyms get created? They did. They got. Oh yeah. Let's check the synonyms. Let's just look to see synonyms. Oops, no, that's the wrong database. Stack Overflow. Synonyms. So we have deadlock findings and deadlock table. Okay, cool. So they got created in Stack Overflow, but the query failed. So the query, oh, where's the drop happen? Where's the drop happen for the synonyms? Drop synonym. No, that's not. I'm not worried about the 640s. Let's go down further. All right, so down here, it's dropping the synonym deadlock table. Here it's dropping deadlock findings. So should it be dropping that earlier, or should it be holding off on dropping? So there it's dropping the synonym, finished at, so by there it should work. Where it's doing the insert into, the synonym should still exist. You know what else is really funny? If I go back, wait a second. Let's drop both of these synonyms. Let's make sure they don't exist. Let's run SP Blitzlock in Stack Overflow. The query's completing with errors. The error is that the deadlock table synonym doesn't exist. Does that synonym exist right now? Refresh. It does. The deadlock table synonym exists, but the insert is failing, which makes me so that right there is failing, even though the deadlock table synonym exists. Boy, that's really interesting. So it's failing even though the synonym exists. Oh, does it have something to do with the fact that we're inserting stuff from Can we use a synonym? Okay, so let's first see let's go see how far back this went. I don't know how long the synonym thing has been in place. So let's look at line, so it's like 3679. Let's look at get blame for line 3679. So we'll go into code, we'll look at SP Blitzlock, we'll look at, I never remember where blame is at. Blame, there it is. And it's 3679. 3679. All right, so in here 2 years ago, so 2 years ago it was inserted into deadlock table and it worked at that point. Let's do a Control F for deadlock table and just see if anything else happens to have changed. Deadlock table. So 2 years ago, so this is the synonym doesn't appear to have changed in the past 2 years. The drop doesn't appear to have changed in the last 2 years. Whoops, holy mackerel. The create doesn't appear to have changed in the last 2 years. And I'm pretty sure that I've used it I know I've used it in the last 2 years and it's worked. So let's go down a little further and see if there's anything else. Nope, that part hasn't changed at all in 2 years. Now, something else that the commenter, Bilius, noted was that they were using SQL 2022. And other people who weren't able to do it didn't say what SQL Server version they're on. Okay, I don't know that I've tried 2022 in the last 2 years to do the inserts into deadlock tables. So let's verify. This is going to sound like paranoid overkill. Renegade says, did it create the synonym in the master or the user database where I'm running SP Blitzlock? In this case, it's creating it in the user database. You see over there that it says Stack Overflow synonyms. Now, there are going to be synonyms in other databases just from the thing creating it, but I know that it's getting created this time in the user database because I keep deleting it. I'm dropping it again now. Drop it, and it's dropping in Stack Overflow. I'll go over and I'll refresh the list just so that you can see that it's gone. And then I'll go run it again, and it's getting created in the Stack Overflow database. So that's cool. Okay, so now we're going full on. Oh, Jim, I don't have chat up. Let me change my display a little here so that I can put, I believe I can put chat. That's the wrong window. Cam link, where's preferences? Nope, it's not that. Is it under Stream Deck? Configure Stream Deck? No, it's not that. Where is my configure my Elgato teleprompter? Oh, it's over there. Display, no, it's not that. Configure camera hub. There it is, okay. How many times I gotta look around and find that? Prompter, output, change over to chat. Oh, I don't have my channel set up. Brent Ozar, I think it's ULTD. Add. Let's see if that's my channel. No, it's just Brent Ozar. Shoot. Hold on a second here. Brent Ozar. Add. Let's see if that works. See if I can have. Oh, I have an ad starting. For those of you who aren't subscribers, now's my chance to say that, hey, you should subscribe to my channel if you use Amazon Prime. You get one free subscription regardless, as long as you're connected in with your Amazon account. Then that way you don't have to see any ads on Twitch. But for the rest of you, you're about to see an ad in about 90 seconds. Yeah, for some reason the chat isn't working. And SQL Dev DBA says, I find the prompter default chat kind of buggy. Yeah, it's like really buggy. Oh, I can just eject the chat window, pop that up into the Elgato though. Let me do that. Configure camera hub, change it to a display, and then pop my chat out. Pop out chat, move the chat over here into the camera so that I see it easier. Okay. So because the reason why I was up there is that Jim said deadlock and is up and down in terms of capitalization. My particular server is not case sensitive, but you know what? We might as well fix that as long as we're in here. Ooh, SQL Dev DBA gifted a tier 1 subscription to Spitfire. Folks, if you get a subscription, remember to say thank you to the person who gifted it to you. So let's say deadlock table. Okay, so it's uppercase, it's camel case in some places. Deadlock, I'm just going to kind of do as a lowercase all throughout the whole entire thing. Lock, and then let's go next. Oh, well, did it? No, it looks like it's most of the places it's, all right, so let's go deadlock. Looks like it's deadlock table. Looks like it might be all the way, looks like it's uppercased. The L is uppercased throughout, so I think that's okay. Yeah, that looks okay. Okay, so I don't think it's case sensitivity. Let's see here. So I went off on a bunch of different tangents all at once. Oh, Jim says the drop statement is lowercase. All right, let me copy paste that out and go see. No, drop deadlock is right there is deadlock table. You might be thinking of mine over here in this window, and I can change that if you want, but that's kind of unrelated. It's not inside the code. So I can actually make it case sensitive. Let's see here. Which one is the one? A match case, and we'll say deadlock table, and it's not found anywhere, so that's cool. Turn off match case just so that we don't have that again. Okay, so back on the thing that I'm curious about. So if the code's been the same for the last 2 years, I wish that I had a SQL 2016 or 19 instance handy right now that I could pivot over to. I have them. Jim's. I have them, but I don't have them on here. Oh, I can put the Twitch chat up here as well. Let's put that up there. I don't have them on a remote desktop that I can show really quickly or test really quickly. So one thing that I do want to test though is I'm a little weirded out by deadlock table. All right, I'll go back over. No, I think it is over here. I'm a little weirded out by the insert into deadlock table that might be in a different database. I'm worried that there was a bug introduced maybe for security reasons, because this is the statement that appears to be failing. Let's double check that. Print deadlock result. Insert into deadlock table. Is this the one that's failing? This has to be the one that's failing. Yeah, I'm worried that whatever's in this SQL, I'm worried that if this is, it doesn't, So let's just try it. What we're going to do is we're going to, in order to test out what I'm worried about, we are going to create a synonym, or we're going to, so the steps to test, we are going to create a table in DBA tools, create a synonym for it in Stack Overflow, insert into the synonym. We're going to build dynamic SQL, I guess would be the real number 3. Step 3, profit, build dynamic SQL to do a select, insert into synonym using the dynamic SQL. All right, let's do it. So we're going to say use DBA tools, create table DBO tester. We'll say ID, identity, 1 what the what? 1 primary key clustered, and then display name and varchar car. How long is the display name in Stack Overflow? You'd think I would know this by now, but I've been jumping around between Postgres and SQL Server. So display name, Brent, come on now. Okay, so there's our table. Then let's use Stack Overflow, create synonym, syntest for DBA tools, DBO tester. All right, let's try that. Oh, this should be int. Let's see here. Oh, SQL Dev DBA says, should we test compat level changes? That's a great question. We'll do it just to check because it's quick. We will say, I'm going to pop Stack Overflow into, I don't know what compat level it's in. So it's currently in 2016 compat level, so that does kind of rule that out. You know, it's an older one. I'm going to pop it to 2022 just to do it. Make sure that I've dropped my synonyms and then rerun it, and it fails. It fails with errors under 2022 as well with the same compat level, or with the new compat level. All right, so we're going to create the table, then we're going to create our synonym, switch over to Stack Overflow, create our synonym. Then I'm going to build dynamic SQL, so we'll say declare string to exec and varchar 4000 equals select top 100 display name from DBO users. Then insert into syntest display name exec string to exec. Now let me make sure that that mechanism for calling is the same as what we're doing in SP Blitzlock. Yep, we're doing technically, all right, we're doing this, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll paste that in, paste, and then this will be, just to clean it up a little there, string to exec. All right, big money. So why am I getting an error there? Why am I getting IntelliSense? Oh, because I don't need parentheses. So I always try to guess what's going to happen. I don't always try to guess, but I have a good time trying to guess what's going to happen. So when I execute this, if this, because I'm running it in the Stack Overflow database, you see my context up there at the top left, plus I had this use. So if this fails, then that would account for why SP Blitzlock is failing. If it succeeds, then I don't think that there were any behavioral changes in 2022. I always find it hard to believe that I'm going to crack a SQL Server bug. Like, there are people all over the world using SQL Server every day, and they have way more complex code than this. So I don't think this is going to fail, but let's give it a shot. 3, 2, 1, execute, works great. So the insert into doesn't appear at least to be the problem. So why is it that this is failing why is it that this isn't working? The insert into. Okay, so one way that it could be failing is if it for some reason at this point in the code, my database context happens to be something else. I don't foresee how that could happen, but I kind of want to test just to find out. I want to see where this is happening at. Let's do select DB name exec. Okay, so let's dump that into here just temporarily. Paste. No, that's not what I was trying to do. Select DB name. Execute. So we put that into SP Blitz lock. We're just going to run it again. And all I'm looking for is over in the results. See, we're in Stack Overflow. We're in the Stack Overflow database. So the synonym should exist at this point. Let's put in a check. Let's say select star from sys all objects where name equals deadlock table. Let's see if we execute that. Oh, I'm in master right now. So let's throw that in, execute. Let's run SP Blitz lock. And does it show? It doesn't show an object for, I assume that that's what that result set is. It doesn't show an object for the synonym at that point. So the synonym is already gone. No, because if I go back over here and I look at synonyms, the synonym is there. Is it that synonyms don't show up here? That's always possible. Well, let's be really good and let's say deadlock. Execute. We'll execute the whole script. Let's go over and run this separately in Stack Overflow. Let's just go see if this exists. Witchcraft! Witchcraft! So the object exists. We're in the Stack Overflow database. But for some reason in the code, the object is not existing. Okay, so what could be happening? What could be happening, this I guarantee is not happening, but I just have to say it out loud because sometimes it guarantees. SQL Dev DBA says if the synonym is looking for is in master, it's not in master. Remember, we've done this several times. I shouldn't say we've done this several times. The synonyms are here in the Stack Overflow database. And so we're also in my window over here where I'm doing the testing is in the Stack Overflow database, and my select over here listing out the synonyms is in the Stack Overflow database. So there it is. Now we'll even get fancier and we'll hard code the bejesus out of this. We'll say from Stack Overflow sys all objects. You would never do this in real code, of course, but just to drive the point home. So this is inside the stored procedure. And just to say, I'm going to run it with debug. Not going to run it with debug on, just so that I can throw that one message in the result set by itself. Deadlock table exists. Now this is funny because this is the error that we were getting. That I was getting when I tried to reproduce this thing. There's already an object named deadlock findings. So this is a separate error that we really want to work on. But so we'll go ahead. I'm going to remove that just for now. Drop the synonym, rerun it without debug. So the results, oh, yeah, wait. Boy, now that's weird. Look at that. So when I hard coded that, it does show, are we changing database context? This is really interesting. My mind's going a million miles an hour. So, let's do two. Let's do two. So that I can show where my mind is at. So I'm going to run one from, I'm going to run two select statements. I'm going to run one from the hard-coded database where SP Blitzlock is supposed to be executing in. We're running it from the Stack Overflow database, for example. Then I'm running one where I just take the current context where no matter where it is. No, SQL Dev DBA says synonyms are server-wide. They are not. They are only inside the context of the database that you're in. I think they're only in the context of the database you're in. And if they were server-wide, you're thinking of like server synonyms of like in ODBC. You can do ODBC level synonyms like at the client, but I think that's what you're thinking. I don't think that there are, let's see, server objects. I don't think that there's such a thing as a server-wide synonym. I think they're inside the user databases. I could be wrong about that. I don't use synonyms very often, but I'm pretty sure that they are. Okay, so I'm going to run both of these. Let's execute this. Let's run SP Blitzlock. I should have dropped the, let me drop the synonyms first just to get rid of them. And then execute it. And if we look, interesting. So the synonym got created in the user. Oh, this is so cool. So the synonym is getting created inside the database of the context where we're calling SP Blitzlock, where we're calling it, not the context of SP Blitzlock, the database. If I go back up and I look at create synonym, at the point where this is happening, we're doing it in Dynamic SQL. We're doing it in Dynamic SQL. The synonym ends up in the calling database. Goodness, excuse me. Do I need to do this whole thing in Dynamic SQL when I do the insert? I could do the whole thing in Dynamics. Let's hard code. I can't really do that. Okay, so I think I'm going to have to do the whole thing in Dynamic SQL. SQL Dev DBA says, yeah, that's what I'm getting at. The synonym exists in Stack Overflow, but the code is looking for it in master. The code is looking for it in the user database where or in the database where SP Blitzlock is installed at, I think. Let's go look, to prove that out, let's go look at 3673, I think is where we're at. Select DB name and execute. So let's see what database we're in. I got to drop the synonyms again. Execute. So it thinks this is so messed up. The script is like, I'm in the Stack Overflow database. But when it goes to query sysobjects, it's looking in some other database. Let me do it another way. I'm going to prove that that's a problem yet another way. We're going to say DB name as my current DB from sysallobjects. Then I'm also going to do copy. No, SQL DVDA says, yeah, I'm dumb. No, you're not dumb at all. This is a ridiculously strange problem. So let's say I'm going to get all objects, and I'm not going to put a filter on it. I'm going to say, show me everything that's in there. I should look at just the user tables just to make it easier. Where type desk equals, there's got to be like table. Oh, I probably don't have it in master. Here we'll go. Switch over to Stack Overflow and then give me service tables. We'll say where name equals users. User table. Okay, perfect. Type desk equals user table. Okay. So let's execute that. Let's go look at SP Blitzlock, drop our synonyms, look at SP Blitzlock. And then, so this is so messed up. When we hardcode look for Stack Overflow, we find it in there. When we look in the current database, we do not find it. When we just look at, hey, what's it here? What database are we in? SQL Server's like, oh, my current database is totally Stack Overflow. But in reality, it's returning data from the master database. That's where SP Blitzlock is installed. So stupid. Okay, so there are a few ways that I could crack this nut. I think the only thing that we're using the synonym for, because I'm going to delete, so the core problem is that it's looking for the synonym in the wrong place. So I could either create the synonym in a different place, or I could change this insert to fully qualify where the synonym lives. The dynamic SQL that creates the synonym, let's come back up here to create. Right now, neither of them are fully qualified. Right now, the create isn't fully qualified. You see down here that this part's fully qualified, but that's the qualified part where we're saying what the table name is. So the drop is just looking in the current database. The create is just looking in the current database. And then the insert is just looking in the current database. The trick is we know the insert isn't working because the synonym, even though we didn't specify what database it's in, it's still ending up in the wrong database. It's ending up in the user database. How do I want to do that? I could fully prefix this, but right now I'm really happy with where the synonym is getting created. If you're going to run SP Blitzlock, I want it to happen in a database. I want the synonym to get created in a database you have permissions in. And odds are the one that you're running it in is the one that you have full permissions in. This is especially true in Azure SQL DB, where you may run it in a user database. And I don't want to fully prefix anything. I don't want to do hard code, although we kind of do anyway, although I'm not sure that that would actually work in Azure SQL DB. This blows. Oh, I don't know what synonym this is or what schema this is in. That's interesting. It's just using your default. So I think the way that I want to do it is I think I want to, when we go to do this insert, I think I want to use the fully qualified name for the current database. Now we know that SQL Server thinks that the current database is the caller. So like it's showing, if I pull DB name, it's showing my current database is Stack Overflow. So I could say in theory, now I'm going to type this out, this isn't going to work. DB name ... I don't think that's going to work. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. And even if I said DBO, that's not going to work. I can't throw a function in here. This becomes, it has to become dynamic SQL. And the part that's kind of ugly is that it's dynamic SQL that calls dynamic SQL. Not really a big fan of that. But let's try it. So for first, in order to test it, I'm going to say insert into Stack Overflow, oops, DBO, deadlock table. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the, why are you, oh, you're throwing an error because the dynamic SQL, or this thing doesn't exist. This is also Stack Overflow, DBO.deadlock findings. Now, I would never go live like this, but this just helps us test. I'm going to close out the unrelated windows just to keep things nice and clean. Drop my synonyms. Then let's try it again. SP Blitzlock. Oh, executed successfully. I wonder if it actually, let's make sure we drop the tables as well. Drop table, paste. Let's make sure we drop everything here. That's fine. Couldn't drop the deadlock synonyms. That's fine because it's not supposed to. Those are supposed to not exist. Execute, so that's cool. Now let's run it. Execute. Then let's go do the select and make sure the tables actually exist. The tables actually exist. Okay, cool. So that proof of concept works, but now I got to do it with Dynamic SQL so that I don't hard code the database names into there, and I can't just use DB name. Yeah, SQL Dev DBA says, oh, nice, it's isolated at least. Okay, so yeah, we're making progress there. So let's say, so one way to do it is that I could take that deadlock result T-SQL and I could append the insert above that. But I want to make sure that we're not using deadlock result anywhere else in the code. Let's say copy, paste. No, see, it does. We're doing it later. We're using it later. God, that sucks so bad. It really doesn't suck so bad. It's really not that bad at all. I just need to use a different variable for my dynamic SQL. So let's see if there's a generic variable that we've created up here for dynamic SQL. Usually I use string to execute, but with all the, yeah, perfect, string to execute. I was going to say Eric wrote this one, so I don't know if he used the same one or not. String to execute, so we're going to use string to execute. So we'll go back down to 3673. So we're going to say declare if debug equals 1. All right, cool. I don't know why that's indented, so we'll just say declare. No, I'm not declaring. Set string to execute equals all this stuff. And then execute it. I have no idea if that's going to work or not. I've never tried that. Exec string. Just to be consistent, I'll do the same thing. Exec sys sp execute SQL string to was it called execute? I can't remember if it was called string to execute or string to exec. I usually call it exec. Okay, cool. Let's see. I'm going to execute just this one first to see if it works in terms of a proof of concept. Execute. So let's make sure that everything's dropped and make sure that that's dropped. I'll just execute it all again. Perfect. Let's go execute. Query completed with errors. Okay, that's good. That's all right. It's probably going to be a different error, probably involving my dynamic SQL. Must declare, oh, of course, I didn't pass in the deadlock result variable. That was a variable, and so when I built this dynamic SQL, that right there is a variable, and I didn't pass it in. Okay, so deadlock result. I don't know what the data type of that is, so let's say deadlock result. Whoops, previous. No, you suck so bad. Listen. Control F, deadlock result, and varchar max. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. 3673. And varchar max deadlock result. All right, let's try that. Put that into production, and then drop our objects, and then run sp blitzlock. Query executed successfully. Then let's go take a look at make sure our tables actually got created. Delete some of our other stuff down here. Go delete that. Tables got created. Okay, awesome. We're off to a good start there. Let's take the same dynamic SQL approach, and then I'm going to just copy that line right there. Let's take the same dynamic SQL result, and we're going to use it for inserting into deadlock findings. We will take out the Stack Overflow fully qualified thing. Well, now that's funky. This may not work. Let's find out. Perfect. So save, execute. Incorrect syntax near finished. What did I screw up here? Insert into and I changed down here. I started working down here. That's probably what it was. Yeah, I did my set string to execute here, and I shouldn't have done that. And so let's just get rid of that. Execute. This will fail, so I'll just go back to Stack Overflow.dbo.deadlock findings. Then we will drop our previous run stuff. Surly Deb says, my local pharmacy. I just got my my last round of injections, flu shots and all that, COVID boosters and all. And whew, boy, that was a butt kicker this year. Query executed successfully. All right, let's see that this actually executed. Okay, good. That actually executed. That's great. All right. Then let's try the exact same thing with, let's try this, set string to execute, copy. Then let's come down here and paste. Now we have to do the same thing with, there's no variable on this one, so it's not by default. The folks will see an ad too. Those of you who are still seeing me, thank you for supporting me, for being a subscriber. I appreciate it. Then let's go throw the exec into here. Exec and paste. We don't need to pass anything in because there's no variables this time. Okay, let's find out. Execute, drop our tables, execute, run SP blitzlock without debug. And it works. Query executed successfully. Let's run again just to make sure that it works successfully. Second time it does. Okay. So now we have it working in the Stack Overflow database. Let's switch over and try it from master just to make sure that that works. I'm going to drop the synonyms and drop the tables, make sure everything's totally gone. I'm going to run it without debug mode again. It executed successfully. Let's run it again, make sure it works a second time. Executed successfully the second time. Let's try it from the database where the output table's at. Let's make sure that our objects are gone. Then let's run it without debug mode again. DBA tools, it executed successfully the first time. Let's run it again. It executed successfully the second time. Yay! Let's try that same round of testing, but I'm going to try it with debug turned on, just because I saw slightly different results when we were playing around there. So let's make sure that everything's gone. Then let's run it in the DBA tools database with debug on. Executed successfully. Let's run it again. Executed successfully. Let's run it from the master database. Make sure that our synonyms and tables are gone. Let's run it with debug equals 1. Worked successfully in master the first time. Let's run it again the second time. Executed the second time in master. Okay, good. Let's try from Stack Overflow. Make sure that the objects are gone. Then let's go run it from Stack Overflow, a user database. That works. Let's run it again a second time, a user database, and that works. Yay! So we've nailed it. Now, normally what the part that I would do next is that I would take this file and I would go to a pull request in GitHub, and SQL Dev DBA says this calls for a tasty beverage, and that's true. After this, I'll immediately go down and make a fresh tasty beverage. It's also interesting. It's about an hour. It's 55 minutes so far. I'm not too surprised because I had no idea going in how complex this is, or whether or not this is going to be complex, but I knew it was going to be complex. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go do a GitHub pull request, and I'm going to compare what the changes were before and after. The thing is that that's only on my side. I don't think I have it. Let me try, because I don't have GitHub Desktop installed on this VM. So I'm going to copy, and I'm not logged in on the GitHub website on this one. I'm not about to go start with that. I'm going to go copy paste out SP Blitzlock. I'm going to paste it onto my local machine. I'm going to paste it there. Do I want to overwrite it? Yes. Replace. Then I'm going to fire open GitHub Desktop. I am going to make this about 1080p so that I can share it with y'all. And then see if I can share this. Switch over to GitHub Desktop. There we go. Okay, cool. So now I apologize because I can't zoom in and out. I don't think I can zoom in and out of this very well. But what I do then is that I'm going to look through and see what code was changed. Oh, everything fits on. Really? Wow, everything fits on one screen. That's actually kind of nice. I was expecting to have to zoom up and down. So what did we do? We took out the insert directly into a deadlock table and we turned that into Dynamic SQL. We did the call to Dynamic SQL, and we did the exact same thing with deadlock findings. Okay, cool, because what I'm always worried about whenever I do debugging, complex debugging like this, is that I'm worried that I'm going to introduce some other change to it, and here this is the only changes that I introduced. So let's do our pull request. So this is issue 3566. We'll say branch 3566 SP Blitzlock error, and we'll say new branch. Bring my changes with me, and then we're going to say number 3566 SP Blitzlock fully qualify. It's not fully qualify, better qualify. Synonym was throwing errors on SQL 2022, possibly others, due to synonym location closes 3566. Commit, publish the branch, and do a pull request. You can't see the pull request because it's happening in a web browser. By default, it says assign Eric Darling to be a reviewer. I love how smart GitHub is. Assign myself to it, and it is a bug in SP Blitzlock. Let me set that up. And then the milestone will be the October release, create a pull request, and then kick off the automated tests. All right, there we go. So, ta-da! So there we go. It's funny how green tinted the office is between my green shirt and the green light in the background. I should probably turn off the green light and see if that makes it a little bit less creepy. But it'll still be pretty green just because of my green shirt here and automatic white balancing. So there we go. We had a complex little issue for an error. I still have no idea whether that happened in previous versions of SQL Server or not, or when exactly this popped up. I know, oh, that's the wrong window here. Let me change that. I know, why is it not showing your chat? I don't know why it's not showing your chat. There we go. I know, SQL Dev DBA says Stream Deck pedal is on sale. Yes, and I have one. Woo! I love it. I haven't configured it yet. I've got to still configure it, but I absolutely love that thing. Certainly does his chat. Isn't worth showing anyway. So I have no idea when that error popped up. I have no idea if it's something that was exclusive to SQL Server 2019 or not. That's really interesting. But I know I've used SP Blitzlock output table this year with a client because I was talking with Eric about like adding. No, that wasn't SP Blitzlock. That was SP Quickie Store. No, one of his other stored procedures I was working with output to table. That's true. I don't know if I've used it this year. I know I talk about it in classes, but it's been a really long time since I worked on it. All right, so we'll stop it there. I now have to, it's like 4:30 a.m. here. Jim's, now you have to pick all the ones and zeros up off the floor. Now I'll stop here because now I have some time to prep before I get some next round of work done. So hope y'all had fun and enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next office hours. Adios, y'all.